All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live. Welcome back to the show. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. I'm going to make sure my audio settings are correct and proper here. I think we're good. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a wonderful Saturday afternoon. Today we have a lot to talk about. Today is going to be quite a show. And I'll tell you what, if you stick around to the very end of today's broadcast, I actually have a special surprise for you guys. But let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. So once again, thank you all very much for tuning in. We are live right now on Rumble at Matt Morse TV. We're live on YouTube at Matt Morse TV. We are live everywhere, Matt Morse TV. Make sure to hit the follow button. Make sure to subscribe. Let's get into it. Folks, President Trump earlier today, just a couple of hours ago, dropped a little bit of a teaser, a little bit of a spoiler. I look like Princess Leia with my headset up here, don't I, with my buns. Anyway, President Trump dropped a little bit of a teaser, a little bit of a spoiler about what is going to be taking place in Chicago very soon regarding the National Guard. So we're going to talk about that today. There are also anti-Trump protests. Imagine that. The far-left radical progressives are out protesting again across the country in at least two different locations. A lot of them are in Washington, D.C., marching around town right this very moment. And of course, also in Chicago, because they do not want the National Guard to come and clean up all the crime and get rid of the drugs and the gangs and the homelessness, God forbid. So the radical leftists are upset. They're marching around town today. So we're going to take a look at that as well. Also, this is the title and the thumbnail of today's broadcast. Vice President J.D. Vance really, dare I say, dropped a bombshell. He went scorched earth. No more Mr. Nice Guy, no more Mr. Nice Vice President. He posted something pretty bombastic that I think you guys are going to like. He posted this on X earlier today, formerly known as Twitter. We're going to take a look at that also. Right now, the radical left, they are pissed off about that. So we're going to talk about that entire story. He really ruffled some feathers, Mr. Vance did. We're going to talk about that soon. And then, of course, we're also going to talk about, this is really a terrible story. This is an evil, terrible, maybe even demonic story. A young woman was murdered. She lost her life on a subway station car, on a train car in the subway in Charlotte, North Carolina. She was brutally murdered. And there's footage of this going around. This story is going viral. Everybody is talking about it. Really, it's just a terrible story. We're going to talk about it, though, because the implications really are pretty big. And so we're going to talk about that entire situation as well. So we have a lot to talk about today. And like I said, if you stay with me, if you bear with me through all of that, then I've got a surprise at the end of the show for all of you today. So please make sure to stick around. Please make sure to like and subscribe. We're on Rumble. We are on YouTube, Matt Morse TV, everywhere. Folks, with your permission, why don't we just get into the show? Okay, that's enough of the intro. So how do I freaking change this? There we go. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I want to kick things off by showing you what President Trump himself posted on Truth Social just earlier this morning, not too long ago. In fact, I know it's evening now. So President Trump on his official Truth Social account, he posted a little bit of a meme. He said, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War." Now, obviously, this was yesterday afternoon's big news. We covered this on yesterday's live broadcast. President Trump has officially signed an executive order renaming the Department of Defense to the Department of War. And now, he didn't pick this name out of a hat. It's not a random name. It didn't come out of nowhere. Prior to 1947, 78 years ago, something like that, it actually was known as the Department of War. The Department of War was actually what it was known as between the early 1780s, when our country was founded, up until, so 150 years up until 1947, at which point World War II is over. There's a period of relative peace. This is kind of before the Cold War really kicked into effect. So they renamed it to the Department of Defense. Trump said, listen, now that I'm back in the White House, now that Trump is back in the White House, he wants to project strength across the globe. we do have some adversarial countries around the world. We've been talking a lot about Venezuela today. That was what today's earlier video was about. If you guys watched that, good video. And so anyway, Trump wants to send the message, listen, we want peace, but what is the best way to achieve peace? His mantra, his credo, one of his many credos is peace through strength. So as such, he is redawning the title Department of War, going back, no longer the Department of Defense. And so anyway, that's kind of the background behind the meme here, behind the joke. He says, Chicago is about to find out why it is now called the Department of War. And then he posts a bunch of helicopter memes or helicopter emojis, Shy-pocalypse now. So obviously, what is the implication here? The implication here is that President Trump is going to be sending in the National Guard into Chicago. This is something that we've been talking about for a couple weeks now, really ever since he sent the National Guard into Washington, D.C. Of course, Washington, D.C. has seen pretty much a 100% reduction in crime. Like, nobody is being burglarized or brutalized or murdered. Chicago is safe. Not Chicago, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. might now be one of the safest cities in the world. Why? Because our brave National Guardsmen are patrolling the streets 24/7. And so you have a lot of people around the country that are saying, hey, I've seen Trump. I've seen what you've done in DC. I want the same treatment from my city. I want you to come to Chicago. I want you to come to Memphis. I want you to come to Atlanta. I want you to come to blah, blah, whatever city, right? In fact, you guys were here. I got excited yesterday at Trump's Oval Office national address yesterday afternoon. President Trump, he floated the idea of sending the National Guard into Portland, Oregon. As you know, that is my hometown. I have had to spend my entire adult life, 15 years now, watching Portland, Oregon, my beloved hometown, slowly deteriorate into an anarchist, Antifa, hellhole infested by homeless people, drug addicts, drug addicted people, mental illness, gangs, violence, shootings, stabbings. And so I heard that Trump himself, he said yesterday, we might go ahead and send the National Guard into Portland. In fact, that might be the first town we send the National Guard into. I heard that and I was like, oh my God, my prayers have been answered. Please, yes, Trump, send them in. President Trump, send them in. And so, but anyway, this post is specifically about Chicago. And I'll tell you what, if you turn on the leftist media, if you turn on CNN or ABC or MSDNC, whatever you want to call it, they're all saying, oh, nobody in Chicago wants the National Guard. Nobody wants them. Trump shouldn't do it. It's terrible. He's an authoritarian. I'll tell you what, okay, I've been seeing a lot of on-the-ground interviews, street interviews taking place on the side of the road all throughout Chicago. People that actually live in Chicago. People that actually live in the ghettos in Chicago. What do all of them say? What do all of those people that are actually living in the nightmare have to say about it? All of them, they're like, yeah, please, Trump, listen, send in the National Guard. Please save us. Because in the absence of law and order, in the absence of President Trump or the National Guard patrolling the streets of Chicago, as well as many other towns, Memphis, Atlanta, Portland, Seattle, LA, whatever, there's too many to even list. In the absence of law and order, these cities have just really effectively become total chaos, anarchy, hell on earth, mayhem. It's like they are out of a post-apocalyptic movie, which is really kind of what we're looking here. It's on fire. There's smoke coming out. Yeah. Yeah. It's like living in Chicago. It's like you're living in some sort of zombie apocalypse TV show. It's like you're living in the TV show The Walking Dead. Okay. There's violence, there's roaming gangs, there's cannibals, there's zombies everywhere. It's bad. So please, yeah, send in the National Guard. Now, real quick, I do want to double back before we move on and talk about the super chat. This is from Alan Weed. He says, fellow lifetime Oregonian here. Love your content. Cheers. Alan Weed, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Oregon is my home state, and now I'm living in Idaho. We moved to Idaho about a week ago, but I love Oregon, but I'm sure like you, I hate what the progressives have done to Oregon. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Also, we have a $2 super chat. Roadroom X, he says, give me liberty. Thank you very much. I'm not going to finish that, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, so this is what President Trump had to say about Chicago. Everybody is losing their mind. I just do it. Listen, we've been talking about it for 3 weeks now, sending the National Guard into Chicago. Just send them in. Let's just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off, get it over with. I hope they do find out. Now, of course, all of the members of the far left are losing their mind, if they even have minds at this point. I think a lot of them are just totally mindless. They're like NPCs, like robots. Anyway, they are out here marching and protesting and having a meltdown today. It is a lovely Saturday around the country. And so, of course, they had to take the opportunity to go out here and let their incompetent voices be heard. So we have some protests going on in Chicago and also Washington, D.C. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is going on the streets. Let's see what's going on here, folks. There they are. Nobody is illegal. That's a lot of them there. That really is a lot of them. Do you mind if I take a minute here and kind of take a look at the signs? The people say ICE out. The people will defend immigrant families. The people will defend immigrant families. We need to melt ICE. Ha ha ha. Good one. Look at this. Wow, look at this big red sign in the background. Full legalization. No deportations. Full legalization. There we go. So it must be understood, ladies and gentlemen here. Can we talk about the implication here? So all of these people, they don't want ICE. They don't want deportations. They love their illegal immigrants. They want, in fact, their solution to the illegal immigration problem is to just make all of them legal. I.e., we don't even have no border, no immigration process, just everybody come and go, everybody from around the entire world. You can come and go as you see fit. We have no customs agents. We have no immigration officers. DHS, we don't need them. Who needs the DHS? Who needs immigration officers? Who needs customs agents? We're just going to open up the border. One world, one love, and everybody can come and go as they see fit. Okay, so what is the implication here? These people, you must understand who you're talking to here, who we are looking at here. These are people that don't even recognize the legitimacy of our country. These are people that don't even recognize that our country is real or exists as an autonomous country. They don't even acknowledge that we are a legitimate country. They think that we should not be a country because, keep in mind, if we don't have a border, if we don't have immigration legislation, if we don't have immigration officers, if we don't have enforcement of our immigration law, then we literally do not have a country. We're just a blob of land. We're an amorphous blob of random people that live on a random piece of land and anybody can come and go whenever they want. That's not a country. So you must understand, these people, they do not even acknowledge or appreciate that America, the United States of America, is an autonomous country. They reject the notion altogether. That is really the fundamental message here. These people are insane and they can't be negotiated with. They can't be convinced. These people are just legitimately as anti-American as you can be, insofar as they reject the legitimacy or existence of America. It must be understood. Full legalization, no deportations, pueblo dice. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. No hablo español. All of these signs. Stop racist deportations. ICE out of Chicago. And then you have the random trans flag, I guess. It doesn't matter what far left protest. It doesn't matter what they're talking about, what they are complaining about. You know for a fact there will be at least one obligatory transgender pride flag. They're out here yelling about ICE and yelling about immigration and also trans people. Hey, don't forget about trans people. Okay. All right. So thanks. So this is what's going on in Chicago, but guess what? Let's take a look at what's been going on in Washington, D.C. Folks, this is Washington, D.C. right now, today. This is what's going on today. Maybe at this very moment. I guess it's getting a little bit late, but take a look at this. Leftists are storming the streets of Washington, D.C. to protest against the... I'm sorry. They are protesting against the drop in crime. I'm sorry, that's funny. Currently marching to the White House to tell the President Trump to free D.C., free Washington, D.C. People came in from Vermont and other blue states for this protest. Okay, let's take a look. What are they doing? There they are. Free DC. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, we're going to take a look at some of these signs here. Remove Trump. Trump must go now. Something about ICE. Hands off. Hey, hey, Donald Trump, you keep your orange hands off of our beloved illegal aliens. Hey, those are our illegal aliens. Nobody deports them. These people are insane. You know what? There's like 1% of my brain that is maybe 1% of my brain is like twisted psychopath. And every so often I have this thought. I'm like, you know what? We should just let them win. Of course, we're not going to do that, but every once in a while, I do have this thought, you know what? I hope they get what they want. I hope they open up the border, and I hope 57 trillion illegal aliens from Uganda come flooding into the country, and I hope they have to deal with the consequences of their ideology. Does anybody ever feel that way sometimes? Of course, my God, we're not going to let that happen. 99.9% of me says no, but every once in a while, I do have this twisted psychopath thought. You know what? I hope they get exactly what they want. I hope they get exactly what they want, and I hope they have to deal with the consequences, because the consequences would be terrible. This country would go to hell. It would. And by the way, we saw a little taste of that during the Biden administration. We saw what happened in this country. We had 4 years of Biden and Kamala and Mayorkas opened up the border, and we had, a lot of people say 20 or maybe even 25 million illegal aliens came flooding into the country. And we saw the crime. We saw the housing crisis. We saw just everything. We saw wages go down. We saw American citizens were being brutalized, butchered. I hate to use that word, but no, that is what was happening. American citizens were being butchered. I can't even imagine, you know, being an adult American and living through the last 4 years of Joe Biden. And now finally the border is closed. The deportations are underway. And then you are on the streets marching, saying, hey, we need to reopen the border. Hey, we need to stop the deportations. Hey, we need more immigrants from Venezuela. We need more immigrants from Uganda. We need more immigrants from Haiti. It's like, were these people in a 4-year-long coma? Are they totally, I don't know. It's like they're living in a different reality I can't even fathom. But you know what? I do see here, a lot of these people came in from Vermont. It must be acknowledged here. A lot of these, you know, how can I put this? Some of the most liberal, radically progressive people in the country, they are from these states that are very far away from the border. They don't have to experience this hellscape that has been unleashed into the country by their own progressive policies. They are insulated from their own incompetent progressive policies. So people in Vermont, a lot of them, they don't really get how bad it is. A lot of people in Oregon, in my hometown, Portland, or up in Seattle and Washington, Maine, whatever, New Hampshire, a lot of them, they don't understand. They've never actually had to deal with the consequences of the way that they vote. You know what I mean? That seems to be the case to me. And now here they are. Whatever. So, and then of course I see in the chat, yeah, a lot of them are paid protesters. You know, talking about the paid protester dynamic, though, is always interesting. I feel like I need to say this. This is a very important thing to acknowledge. Yes, there are paid protesters. I've made videos about that. We here together have done the research. Most certainly there are foreign NGOs, non-governmental organizations funded by people like George Soros, pumping money into progressive political action groups like Indivisible or Act Blue. We all know what's going on. A lot of these people are paid. They are paid protesters. The going rate is about $200 a day. Some of these people are getting paid $200 a day to be here. However, it must be understood, the majority of these people that you're looking at right here, the majority of these people are not paid protesters. The majority of these people are just legitimately homegrown, all-American, radically progressive, incompetent Democrats. Okay? It's very important to acknowledge a lot of these people, they are legitimately this stupid. Most of these people are not being paid. A lot of these people, they are sincere in their incompetent, radically progressive beliefs. And it's a problem we're going to have to grapple with because a lot of these people are real. They are real. They are serious about their beliefs here. Some of them are paid, but not all of them are. Only a minority of them are. It's a real issue. Okay, and so this is another angle here from what's been going on in Washington, D.C. Here's another angle. Take a look. Of the same crowd, presumably. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Yeah. Not a lot of energy in this crowd. It looks, like I said, it just looks like a bunch of zombies. It's like I'm watching an episode of The Walking Dead, right? They don't have a whole lot of pep in their step. You guys got to get some pep in your step. Come on, this is low energy. I'll tell you what, though, that is a lot of them. That's a hell of a lot of people. You can't deny that. However, you know, some are paid, but the majority of them, they are real. They are just real and really incompetent. Now, there's a massive super chat here. I want to take a look at this. I'm going to double back. I want to keep tabs on this. Greg Adamite, one of the top viewers of the day, of all time. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. Good to see you. Happy Saturday. He says, Matt, I bet 75% don't have anything to do with Washington, D.C. at all. The residents are celebrating not having to watch their back for the first time in years. You're right about that. You're totally right. They're probably barbecuing at home or the park. Great job again, Greg. I appreciate that. I mean, this is one of the reasons we know how they operate. They bust people in from out of city. You're totally right. All the polling data I've seen, all the street interviews I've seen, people that actually live in Washington, D.C., they love what President Trump has done because for the first time in years, maybe decades, like you said, the streets of D.C. are now safe. You can actually take your family out to go to a restaurant on a Saturday night with your kids. You don't have to worry about getting stabbed by a gang member or shot or whatever. Like this story we're going to talk about here pretty soon that came out of North Carolina, Charlotte. Terrible situation. We're going to talk about that story here in a minute. But you're right. No, you're totally right. Greg, thank you again. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. There was another one here real quick. This is from Kevin. I appreciate it. Good to see you again. He says, let's set up a program where these illegal aliens can stay if a woke communist Democrat household will sponsor them in a guest room in their own house. You know, that sentiment this idea is in accordance with that 1% of my brain that is like twisted psychopath. But here's the problem. If we actually instituted that policy, the problem is there are enough legitimately insane, mentally ill, far left radicals that would do it. And then we would just have more illegal aliens coming in the country. So I agree with 1% of my twisted psychopath brain agrees with you. The problem is if you give a mouse a cookie, the cookie's not enough. Then he asks for a glass of milk. Then he asks for a straw. Then he asks for a napkin. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So you can't give these people an inch. You cannot give them a centimeter. We're at a point in this country. We're at a crossroads. We are at a crossroads. We need to be uncompromising. We cannot compromise with these people at all. We cannot say, all right, you can have illegal aliens, but only if you put them in your own house. I know you're probably joking, but I know this is what I'm saying is we can't give them anything. Okay, the fate of the country hangs in the balance. We need to stop giving. In fact, here's a kind of related sentiment that I hear sometimes. Some people say, you know what? Who cares if California is overrun with illegal aliens? California's a hellhole already. Just give it to them. Who cares if Oregon or Washington or whatever are overrun with illegal aliens? Whatever, give it to them. Who cares? Listen, How about this? How about we are taking back California? How about we are apprehending, detaining, and deporting every single one of them, and we are taking back California, and we are taking back Oregon? How about no longer are we giving ground? How about now we are taking ground? That's how I feel. Okay, we're taking back Portland. I am not done. My job is not done until Portland is a Republican voting city. Okay, I am not done. I am not done here today until everybody in Los Angeles is voting for Donald Trump. Okay, in 2028. I am not done until everybody in Seattle is voting for Donald Trump in 2028. We are taking it back. We are done giving up ground. We're done giving these people an inch. We're taking the country back. That's how I feel. Okay, so I'm kind of joking, but really, that's the mindset. That is the mindset that we need to adopt in order to start winning. Okay, for a long time, for decades, the conservatives, the Republicans have kind of been on the back foot. They've been playing defense. And you might have noticed up until 2016, when Donald Trump popped up, he popped up into the scene, the Republicans were losing. Every single cultural battle, the Republicans were losing between the 1980s, maybe 1970s, up until 2016, when Donald Trump popped up. As the American conservative movement was loss after loss after loss after loss. It was, and I'm not, I begrudgingly say that, but it is true. We need to go on the offense. We need to start taking back lost ground. We need to stop giving ground. We need to go on the offense. Obviously, playing defense is not enough. We got to start taking back lost ground. And so that's how I feel. Okay, so, man, I turned up to today's broadcast a little bit heated. I'm a little bit fired up today. What's going on? I don't know. Maybe my wife put something in my coffee this morning. I don't know. By the way, super chat. This is from Caden H. $5 super chat. Thank you very much. He says, the media has radicalized these people into domestic terrorists and foot soldiers for their invasion of America with the illegals. Ice, ice, baby. We got to get rid of them. Listen, I've said this before, but every single illegal alien in this country is a legitimate domestic terror threat. Every single illegal alien in this country is a national security threat. That's the best way to put it. Every single one of them. So the way I look at this, if we have 50 million illegal aliens, how do I view that? Oh, we have 50 million national security threats because not one of these people are vetted. We don't know. Maybe they are part of some sleeper terrorist cell. Maybe they're a spy for the CCP. Maybe they're a part of Tren de Aragua. Maybe they're a part of some Venezuelan human trafficking gang. Who knows? That's the problem. Not one of these 50 million illegals in the country is vetted. We have no idea. And so, as such, what must we do? Get rid of every single one of them. And by get rid of, I mean detain them, deport them, send them back to their country of origin. All of them have to go. Not one single compromise. Okay? And I've said this before. Some people get mad when I say this, but when I say every single one of them, when I say mass deportations, when I say I want all of them gone, if you are here illegally, you have to go, I mean all of them. I don't care if it's the 85-year-old abuela grandma who snuck in the country 35 years ago, and she's been a model citizen illegally, albeit for 35 years. I don't care. Listen, abuela, you got to go back to Mexico. You violated our immigration law. You skirted under the radar for 30 years. Guess what? You got to go. Okay? Hope you had fun. Now it's time to deportado. Okay? Goodbye. Hasta luego. Vámonos. So that's how I feel. Call me a radical, I guess. Man, I really did wake up on the crazy side of the bed. Now, folks, speaking about crazy, you know who else woke up on the crazy side of the bed? Vice President J.D. Vance. So now we're going to talk about Vice President J.D. Vance because he has been making big waves today. He really pissed off the progressives. But first, real quick, we had 10 gifted community memberships from U.S. Navy vet. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Every single recipient of one of these gifted memberships, as far as I know, they don't have to watch advertisements anymore, which is really increases the experience here. So I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Also, hey, listen, big shout out to the guys down in the Rumble chat. We have 7,000 people. I think we're on the front page of Rumble right now. So shout out the Rumble chat, Matt Morris TV on Rumble, Matt Morris TV on YouTube. Everybody, thank you for tuning in today. Let's go ahead and talk about JD Vance because he was going crazy today. Crazy in a good way, maybe. So take a look at this. JD Vance on Twitter, on X, clashes with anti-Trump social media personality over the cartel killings. JD Vance said, I don't give a shit, is what he said. Sorry. Hey, we're all adults here. He said, I don't give a shit. Now, when we're talking about cartel killings, we're talking about 4 days ago. The Trump administration blew up that drug smuggling boat off the coast of Venezuela. We've all seen the video. That boat, we have the aerial footage. The bomb comes down, blows up the boat. 11 cartel members got blown up. They were trafficking drugs into the country. All of their drugs got blown up. It's now floating in the bottom of the Gulf of America. So take a look at this. JD Vance pushed back earlier today against an anti-Trump social media personality Saturday morning earlier today after he criticized a post the vice president had made on X. The clash between Vance and Brian Krassenstein began when Vance wrote, "Killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military." Do you agree? Can we get a real quick yes or no? Is killing cartel members who are killing American citizens the highest and best use of the United States military? I think so. It's hard to find a more justifiable use of the United States military. They are, in this case, they are literally defending our country, defending Americans in the country from violent cartel gang member terrorists dealing poison, deadly narcotics inside the, yeah, of course. Yeah, we got to stop that. And I want to show you what this Twitter exchange, what this X exchange looked like, excuse me. So this is how it started. JD Vance, he posted, "Killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military." I'm going to like that one. And then you have Brian Krassenstein, who responded to that. This is the far left idiot of the day, Brian Krassenstein. He said, "Killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime." So he's accusing Trump and JD Vance, the Trump administration, of conducting a war crime by blowing up a bunch of narco-terrorists in the middle of the Gulf of America, as they are quite literally in the process of trafficking narcotics into our country. That we are supposed to believe is a war crime. Yeah. Okay. So by the way, this is an assessment of where the Democratic Party is, of where the progressives currently are. What are they doing? What is the current progressive stance? They are defending narco-terrorists. Hey, you leave the narco-terrorists alone. Hey, you're not allowed to blow up narco-terrorists as they are actively trafficking narcotics into the country. Hey, hands off, buddy. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Krassenstein. And so what did Vice President JD Vance have to say? He said, "I don't really give a shit what you call it." He said, "You can call it a war crime. You can call it whatever you want. I don't really give a shit. We are just going to keep on blowing them up. You can complain about it. You can go on Reddit and you can be mad. You can go on X and you can be pissed off about it. Call it whatever you want. But the bombings will continue. The bombings will continue. The targeted drone strikes will continue until the narco trafficking comes to a stop. And until that point, yeah, we're just going to keep on blowing them up, and you can call it whatever you want." Now, I want to see what people had to say here. We're on X. Donut Operate, he's a big YouTuber. He said, "Hell yeah." Pax Americana says, "Libtard destroyed." Is it fair to say that this libtard got destroyed? Yeah, I think so. And this is a picture of JD Vance, of course, totally not photoshopped at all. This is a real picture of JD Vance. Fair. Narco-terrorism really is genius branding. Yeah. Oh, Brian Krassenstein responded. He had something else to say. He said, "Killing 11..." Oh, he typed up a storm. We're going to read all of this. He said, "Killing 11 people in this way could be classified as an extrajudicial killing under international human rights law, potentially exposing U.S. officials to responsibility." Dude, shut up. No one cares. Hey, paging Mr. Krassenstein, nobody cares. Okay? Here's what we're going to do. We are going to keep on carrying out targeted bombings on narco-terrorists as they're crossing international waters trying to smuggle narcotics into our country, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can complain about it. Good luck in 2019. Any idea what the penalty for such a crime would be? Oh, this guy is such a loser. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. This guy is such a loser. He then goes on to say, Mr. Krassenstein, he says, I do, and so does international law. You will never be president. Imagine if Venezuela decided to bomb a boat driving from Maryland to New York City, which had 11 Americans and a bunch of drugs in it. What would be your response? This is comparing, I was going to say apples to orange. This is not even a like scenario. I was going to say apples to oranges. This is like comparing a hammer to an apple. You're not even in this, it's not even a type of food. That's how distant of analogy this is. What would you do? Nothing, because that's moronic. I can't even believe this. Now, by the way, this is Mr. Krassenstein here himself. He actually uploaded this video. He uploaded this video that I want to take a look at. This is going to be funny, but first I want to take a look at this, at these super chats here that are popping up on YouTube. We have a number membership here from Amy Boado. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. Amy, I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. Thank you. Welcome to the Morse Force, as some people are calling it these days. Thank you very much. And also, we have, this is from Raya, who's here every single day. I appreciate that. She says, thanks, Matt, for all the hard work and honesty. God bless you, your family, and all of our patriots. America first. God bless. I'm with you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Raya, something you said here reminds me. You know, sometimes people tune into the show and they say, thank you, Matt, for your unbiased coverage of the news. And I'm always, in a weird way, I almost take offense to that, because I do have a bias. In fact, I'm almost proud of my bias. I am biased. My bias is America first. I do have an America first bias. That is the lens with which I kind of unpackage all of these topics. So I own my bias. I have a bias. I am America first. Like you said there, America first. I do have a bias, but it's a good bias. It is the best bias you can possibly have. At least that's how I feel. So thank you very much. But I am biased. I do have a little bit of an America first bias. So thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Raya. Good to see you as always. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a listen to what Mr. Krassenstein here had to say. He uploaded a video response to what J.D. Vance had to say. Everybody tune in, take a look.
The Vice President of the United States just cursed me out for calling out his breaking of international law.
Everybody, the Vice President bullied me on Twitter, and it super hurt my feelings. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let's play the video.
As you know, 3 days ago, the Trump administration attacked a boat filled with 11 Venezuelan citizens, allegedly carrying illegal substances to another nation. In doing so, they took the lives of all 11 citizens on board.
Good.
J.D. Vance tweeted, unaliving cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military.
Yes.
I then called him out, saying, unaliving the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime. His alarming response to me, an American citizen, I don't give a shit what you call it. Well, Mr. Vice President, I do care, and I told you what I think. Taking the lives of 11 people in this way could be classified as an extrajudicial crime under international human rights law, potentially exposing those who do it, U.S. officials like yourself, to responsibility. Good luck in 2029. Do you have any idea what the penalty for such a crime could be?
Oh man. So first off, yeah, what a voice. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a testosterone epidemic. We have not an epidemic, a crisis. We have a crisis of low testosterone in this country. What is going on? I think Alex Jones was right. Alex Jones was right when he said they're putting chemicals in the water and it's turning the freaking frogs gay. Something is in the water here. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. Okay, I don't have the answer here, but something is going on. There is a crisis of low testosterone men in this country. You're looking at one right here. Not here. Here. So that's the first thing that has to be said. Second off, it's like, dude, listen. Is it fair to say that the 2024 election, which took place, 11 months ago now, the 2024 election was a referendum on this, on exactly this? It was a referendum. We all went to the voting booth and we voted on whether or not we want more of this. And the country pretty much unanimously said, excuse me, no, we don't want this. Whatever this is, whatever this guy is doing, this guy, his ideology, his mindset, whatever you can call this, we don't want it. We've had enough. We just had 4 years of this, and now we don't want that anymore. In fact, I think, by the way, I think we never wanted that. The 2020 election was a little bit weird, okay? But we don't need to get hung up on that. But anyway, I think we never wanted this, but now we most certainly do not want this. It was a referendum on this, and thank God we chose. We don't want that. Now, real quick, we have some super chats down here in Rumble I want to take a look at. Take a look at this. This is from Citizen. Down in the Rumble chat, he says, didn't Brian Krassenstein here say we should have had a sniper ready to take out Putin? Thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot he said that. Yes, this is the guy, must have been 3 weeks ago, when President Trump met with Putin in Anchorage, Alaska. It was this guy, Brian Krassenstein, that's him, who said that we should have assassinated Putin on American soil the second he stepped off the airplane. Yeah, so this is that guy. Real geopolitical genius we're talking about here. Yeah, no, good catch. Yeah, that is him. Excuse me. Now, we had another super chat down here in Rumble. This is another guy. He said, this is from, his name is Addicted to Drums. He says, Christ is King. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much. We got to listen. Hey, everybody's watching on Rumble today. We have a ton of people on YouTube. It's a great Saturday. I appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And before we move on, I'm going to do one more on YouTube here. This is from Greg Adamite. He says, again, thank you. Thank you very much. He says, Matt, you're biased. So what? Me too, but you're a patriot and proud of it. Keep doing the right thing. I think, for a long time, I don't know if you go back to the 2000 teens I don't know, maybe this is during maybe it was a consequence of the Bush era. There was this vibe, this sense in America where people were almost ashamed to be Americans. It was always, I'm an American, but I'm one of the good ones. I'm an American, but you know what I mean? There was almost this like shame for maybe 15 years amongst a lot of Americans. And now I feel like that is gone. Now, maybe with the far left progressives, but now being an American patriot is in. Being an American patriot is hot. We are done apologizing. We are done apologizing for being proud Americans. Those days are over. Yeah, you're right. And so thank you. I want to say thank you again. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. And so that is the JD Vance bombshell today. Now, this is where we get to the really terrible, tragic news. Everybody has been talking about this today, and it really is seriously a very sad story. This happened late last night. This is a 23-year-old young woman. She actually is an immigrant, or rather refugee, from Ukraine. This is a Ukrainian woman who came to the U.S., I believe, a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years ago. She came here as a refugee as a consequence of the Ukrainian war. 23-year-old, her name is Irina Zarutska, fled Ukraine to America on her return home from her job as a waitress in a pizzeria in Charlotte, North Carolina. She was brutally murdered by 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown. DeCarlos Brown took her life. Now, I'm going to show you some of this footage, but not all of the footage. I'm not going to show you a murder here on YouTube and Rumble, but I'm going to kind of, there's some footage I can show you that is kind of the lead up to show you kind of what happened here. So take a look at this real quick. So that's her stepping onto the train late at night after work. Behind her is this urban scholar. His name is, what's his name? DeCarlos Brown, who is sitting behind her on the subway train. She doesn't acknowledge him. She doesn't look at him. She doesn't talk to him. She's sitting in her chair on her cell phone after a long day at work. DeCarlos Brown reaches in his pocket and gets out a pocket knife, unfolds it, and he's sitting there, and he gets up, and he brutally stabs her to death for literally zero reason. entirely unprovoked, completely unprovoked. She didn't even look at this guy. She didn't say hi to him. Just out of nowhere. And of course, I'm not going to show you the rest. The rest of the footage, you don't actually see the stabbing, but there's some blood on the subway car. So I'm not going to show you that part. But this is a different angle here. This is as it was happening. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, this subway car here is full of people. There's people sitting right there, up and down the car. I don't know. Can I? Here, I don't want to show you anything too brutal here, but I can show you this angle here. Look at this. So this is a different angle in the subway car. The car is full of people. There are dozens of people on the car in which this happened. You can see he has the knife in his hand. There's some blood stains on the floor. This is after he killed her. Out of nowhere. And you know the craziest thing? Nobody does anything. No, not a single person in this car helped her or stopped him or tried to apprehend him. They just ignored it. If I ignore him, maybe he won't stab me next. Go away, go away, go away. Don't bother me, please. So I can't, when you list this image here is actually totally exemplary of the phrase. I'm sure you've all heard this. Weak men create hard times create good men create good times create weak men. It's this cycle, this 4-stage cycle: weak men, bad times, good times, strong men, whatever, right? And so, you know, there's another phrase I like. The phrase goes, you get what you tolerate. You want to know why we are getting this in our public transit? This is in Charlotte, North Carolina. You want to know why we are getting this? It's because for too long, we have tolerated this. You get what you tolerate. Weak men have tolerated this. They've done nothing about it. And that's why we have this. And if you don't believe me, I want to show you something here. A little bit of a background check on DeCarlos Brown Jr. Where did this guy come from? I want some more information about this individual. DeCarlos Brown Jr. is a career criminal who has been in and out of jail since 2007. He murdered Irina Zarutska, who fled the war in Ukraine. Folks, it was safer for this young Ukrainian woman to be in Ukraine, a country at war, than it was to be sitting on a subway car next to DeCarlos Brown. Okay, this young woman would have been safer in a... I almost swore. I'm getting heated. I'm getting passionate here. I'm sorry. This young woman would have been safer in a trench on the Ukrainian front, okay, than sitting in front of DeCarlos Brown. Think about that. Think about how twisted and terrible that is. And by the way, this could have happened to anybody. She just happened to be sitting in front of him. Could have been you, could have been me, could have been my wife, could have been your grandma. Could have been anybody. It happened to be her. Terrible. Wrong place, wrong time. Okay, so who is this guy? Well, take a look. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. Between 2007 and 2014, this is his juvenile and early adult years. Brown's criminal record begins as early as 2007 when he was still a minor. Oh, imagine that. Over this period, he was arrested at least 6 times when he was a minor. Felony larceny, robbery with a dangerous weapon, communicating threats. Most of these charges were reportedly dropped, according to the Charlotte Observer newspaper. In 2014, he was convicted of armed robbery. Brown was convicted of armed robbery and served approximately 5 years in prison. He was released in September of 2020. In February of 2021, he was convicted of assault and property crimes. Shortly after his release, he assaulted a female, specifically his sister, resulting in numerous minor injuries. Injury to personal property and trespassing after returning to a residence where he was banned and he damaged the front door. Flash forward to July 2022, domestic disturbance. He was arrested for disorderly conduct due to yelling and cursing causing a disturbance and drawing attention from multiple tenants at a property he was living at. In January of 2025, Brown was arrested for misusing the 9/11 system after claiming someone had given him a man-made material, controlling his actions, eating and walking, and it sounds like he called 911 and he was tripping out on drugs and he was like a bogus call. He was released without bond. A public defender later questioned his mental capacity to stand trial, and a forensic evaluation was ordered but not completed. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's a list. Here's a collage of every single one of his mugshots. To be fair, I think that's a different DeCarlos Brown. I don't think that's him. I think they mixed up another DeCarlos Brown. How many criminals named DeCarlos Brown are there? That's not even him. That's a different guy. How many? Okay, you know what? It doesn't matter. Anyway, all of the other pictures here are in fact DeCarlos Brown. And so listen, here's the deal, folks. This this brutal murder here, this young woman, this was totally avoidable. She did not need to lose her life. If you ask me, you guys know me, okay? You guys have been tuning in for a while now. When situations like this happen, my mind goes to some medieval places. You know that we're going to have to give this guy a trial and he's going to go to jail again. He's going to get out of jail within 5 years. I don't know. They're going to let him out. Or he might not even go to jail because they're going to find that he's too incompetent to even go to prison. They're going to let him out. I don't know. Is this guy ever going to face justice for the terrible, disgusting crimes, plural, that he has committed in his life? No, of course not. Of course not. That's not the country we live. We live in a country where people like this, they get off scot-free and then they reoffend, they commit another crime, they do it again and again and again. So I go a little bit medieval. I'm a little bit draconian with my punishments, and I'm not going to explain what that means because we are live on YouTube right now. I'm not going to give some context there, but yeah, listen, like I said, we as a society, we collectively, we get what we tolerate. And the reason why we get this is because we have been tolerating it for so long and we need to stop. We need to stop tolerating it. Now, by the way, speaking of tolerating this behavior and why it has gotten that bad, I was curious, this is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Who is in charge of this city? Who is running the shots in this city? What is the political slant of the environment in which this crime happened? Well, this city has been they've had Democrat mayors since 2009, one of which, Patrick Cannon, curiously, was forced to resign after corruption charges in 2013 and 2014. So anyway, this is yet another, wow, go figure, yet another classic case of far-left, incompetent, progressive city that turns a blind eye to crime. And it's not even turning a blind eye to crime. They're encouraging it. They foster it. They facilitate crime. The city just deteriorates, becomes a degenerate hellhole cesspit. And you start having just, I mean, like beautiful young woman in the prime of her life, brutally stabbed for just totally senseless murder, brutality. It's evil. It's demonic. It's satanic. It's terrible that this happened. It's terrible that we have tolerated this, I don't know. Really terrible. So that's that story. That's really all we can say about that story. Now, we do have a big super chat here. I want to take a look at this. This is another one from my good friend, Greg Adamite. Thank you very much. He said, hey, he said it, not me. Mr. Adamite, he said, drawn and quartered works for me. For anybody that doesn't know, that means you tie a horse and a rope to every one of his limbs, and then you smack the horse on the butt, and then all four horses go running off in different directions, and his body is ripped apart in 100 different ways. Hey, I'm not the one saying that. Adamite said it, and this guy's crazy. He's out of his mind. I'm not the one that's saying that. Okay, but hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Super chat, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, folks, admittedly, today was a little bit of a slow news day. So this is what we're going to do at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. We have covered all of the big news topics of the day. The weekends are always kind of slow, but I said, if you stick around to the end of the show, I do have a surprise for you. So on YouTube, we are going to wrap up the daily news coverage. We are going to hop over to Rumble now, Matt Morse TV on Rumble, and we are going to watch a brand new 44-minute documentary in which we have on-the-ground deep dive investigative journalism into the murder city, the murder capital of the country. Okay. And I'm not even sure which city specifically this is. So I'm going to find out with you guys. So folks, we're going to hop over to Rumble. We're going to be only on Rumble for the next part. So if you don't want to go, everybody, thank you for tuning in today for the news segment of today here on YouTube. Now we're going to go do a little bit of some Rumble stuff. And if you're dipping out, I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be back tomorrow with more videos and more content here on YouTube. Another daily live news broadcast. We're going to be on Rumble going forward. Matt Morse TV on Rumble. Thank you all for tuning in. And now we're going to head on over there. So if you're dipping out, I appreciate it. And I'll see you tomorrow. But now we're doing the Rumble segment. So I need to flip off the YouTube stream here real quick. I think we're good. Hold up here. We're doing the transition here. And if you're on Rumble right now, thank you. Bear with me. I think I'm flipping this off. Yeah. Yeah.